How you doing, y'all? It's Federal Nightmarez paper. Got Mr. Arlo Washington in the building. Oscar nominee. And it's an honor to have him here with me.
Arlo Washington, founder and president of People Trust, Community Federal Credit Union, People Trust, Community Loan Fund.
I decided to come back to Arkansas. When I got back to Arkansas, I didn't realize that, through the adversity I had went through, they had learned how to do, straight razors, and a lot of skills had enhanced a lot. So when I came back here and I started barbering, it took off like wildfire. And then so from there, I grew. If you don't grow, you die in business. So I then got my first barbershop. I didn't have lawn. I didn't have, the resources. But what I did was, I took the money I made while I was cutting, I reinvested back into the barbershop. So then, and that was the thing. I bought a chair, I bought a station. I was able to pay my bills, but it was tough though, building that barbershop, especially from scratch. No bank loans, none of that. And then that shop ended up growing to about 9 chairs the first year. From there, we opened up another barbershop. The profits from that one, we acquired another barbershop that was going out of business. That made us have 27 people, renting booths. Yeah. And then that shop profits took us and we got another barber. So at one point in time, I had 3 barbershops running. So, of course, you want your product to be consistent. So I don't want to, we cutting hair good over here, but over there they tearing people haircuts. So I would train the barbers that worked there to say, okay, let them work around me for a little while, show them the razor, show them what I knew, help them get their skills up. But then they would go out and open up a barbershop across the street. Yeah. So I'm like, I invested all this time and energy to help you develop you, and now you left, So I said, well, if I'm doing all the training and producing all the barbers, the good barbers, then I should have a barber school so that, the game is to be sold, not to be told. So I'm gonna charge I'm gonna give it to you, but I'm gonna charge on the front end. And that's what happened. So then we got the barber school and then we were providing Pell Grants and direct loans. And when you do Pell Grants and direct loans, you have to do financial literacy. You have to tell them about, hey, this is a loan. You got to pay that back. This is a grant. That don't have to be paid back. But you'd be surprised, how many people don't know the difference between a loan and a grant. And so we noticed that a lot of the students just did not have the tools to be successful financially and sustainable because they didn't know the difference between a grant and a loan. So I said, well, we need to drill in on this financial literacy, because if we just create barbers, but then they don't have financial education and they don't know what to do with the money, then they're not going to be able to, they're going to be out here struggling. And so we started spending more time providing financial literacy along with the Pell Grants and direct loans. And then in 2009, Arkansas banned predatory payday lending. There was 134 brick and mortar payday lenders operating in the state of Arkansas. And in 2009, they banned predatory payday lending because, they prey on low-income communities. Predatory payday lending is a loan that says, you can pay back when you get paid on your payday. So they normally go weekly or bi-weekly payments. The problem with predatory loans is if you miss a payment, then your interest rate could spike, 300, 400%. So it basically puts you into a debt trap, and you're never able to really pay the loan off. And a lot of people for some people, that was a lifeline because they couldn't get a loan at the bank, couldn't borrow money from nobody, but they can go and use their paycheck to get a loan. So, and if it means you got to keep your lights on, you got to put food on the table, you got to, kids got to eat, baby needs some shoes, so they banned it in Arkansas, and those 134 brick and mortars, by the end of 2009 was all gone. It was 200,000 Arkansans utilizing these services, now left without an alternative. So, of course, recidivism happened, more crime started happening, more, all the social, economic, issues that come along with not having access to capital happen. And people started, getting desperate, like asking anybody for loans. Like and being in the barber college, being in the community, people felt comfortable. So they come, hey, Mr. Washington, can I borrow $50? Can I borrow $100? Can I borrow $75? I need a room tonight. I need food tonight. I need gas. I need help. And these my people. So I'm like, man, you know what? I can't just sit here and watch my community suffer. And me just shelling out cash every 5 minutes out of my pocket is not sustainable. So, and then too, I don't want to get into it with nobody about no money. We need to have a structured program here, because if I'm just, you tell me you're going to pay me back and you don't pay me back, then now you dodging me to come get your hair cut, and you dodging you see me at the grocery store. I don't want to go through that. So I said, well, let's set up a fund. We'll set up a fund. But the fund ain't had no money. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to put $1,000 in this fund every month. So I put $1,000 on my check in the fund every month, and we would make 4 loans a month. We make $250 loan, $250 loan, $250 loan. And at the end, when people call, say, hey, I need a loan, because once the word got around, people was calling every day. And then we was the only alternative after these payday lenders had, vanished. And so that $1,000, we crank it up every month. And so we did that for a little while. We was keeping everything on Excel spreadsheets. And then I was like, man, it has to be a government program that help with this. There's too many people in need. There's got to be something. So then I had an uncle that was at a CDFI in Chicago, and he came down and got a haircut, and he saw me making loans to people and doing. He said, man, have you ever heard of CDFI? Community Development Financial Institution. It's a community development financial institution.
You know what I tell them? Look, your drip ain't official if it ain't federal. It ain't official.
And so I couldn't see my community hurting like that. And I said, well, I have the capacity. We've been providing student loans, Pell Grants, and direct loans to low-income students, and we're doing financial education. We're doing everything that a financial institution would do. So we should be able to create a loan fund and run it successfully. And so, as the demand began to grow, we began to make more and more loans. And so he came down. He saw what I was doing. He said, "Hey man, you're making loans. You're doing everything that these CBFIs do." And I was like, well, at the time I was like, well, I don't want to.
How old were you then?
At the time I was 20. I might have been 30. At that time I was about 30, 32, 33, not 32, 33. And I was like, man, when I looked at the application, I was like, man, that's a lot of stuff. I ain't, that's way out there. And so a couple of years went by, and we didn't do it. We was just making our loans, still doing our thing. And then I was like, man, this is we really need to look at it, because now by this time they email live borrowing money, and and I got this long list of people that's and I'm like, man, I got to go and look at the CDFI thing. So in 2016, we became CDFI certified. But what is a CDFI? And what does that mean to be, have this designation now? What does that do? Do you just get a bunch of money and you go ahead and you're able to do things? No, it don't work like that. CDFI is nonprofit, specialized financial institutions that were put in place to be gap fillers, put in place to be the intermediary. I call it the mechanism to make it happen. The mechanisms that make financial transactions happen for low-income communities. Without these mechanisms in place, then you have the wealth gap is widened, because traditional banks and red line communities, there's no connection there, because credit, because of collateral, because a lack of investment. And so we became CDFI certified in 2016, and I went back and studied the federal registrar, where the CDFI fund, the legislation. I studied the legislation where the CDFI fund was created, because I said, well, I need to figure this out. I need to figure out how to be a good CDFI, how to be effective, because I don't want to just be doing it. I want to really be good at it. And so I found one line item in there about it was in the Rigo Community Development Act of 1994. And in that, it had, inside that legislation, one line item said that a CDFI's, purpose is to rectify any economic disparity in their target market. So Pulaski County, Saline County was our target market. That's 2 counties, 12 cities, 45 census tracts. So I was like, okay, so how does but we need a facility. We was operating at the barber school. So it's like, we need a facility. We need we need a building. We need a bank building so people will know. But then we said, well, we didn't have funds for that. So I said, well, what's the best thing we could, what make the most sense? Well, we got all these people coming here getting barbering services. We got all these customers. We got all the students. This is a good place for us to plant. And we use a place-based strategy. So I went and got a repurposed shipping container, put it on a lot, slapped a sign on it, and that was the loan officer there. And anytime somebody came to borrow money, they just, hey, go back there. And we just started in 2018. We were awarded a technical assistance grant by Treasury to be able to build our capacity. So I was able to hire a couple people to be able to help out with loan processing and origination, and then we from there we then got some support from the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation. We got online software. So we wanted the same look, the same feel, and ease of getting a loan that same experience that you would get by going to a payday lender. But we're not predatory. We're a safer alternative. And but as far as the acquisition and the there was no psychological trauma behind applying for a loan. And that, man, you get that a lot of times. I went to the bank not too long ago, and I'm not bashing banks, because I feel like that, now that I know, and now that we actually are a credit union now, so we are a bank now. It's like, well, okay, now I'm able to see, the challenges when it comes down to making loans or providing financial services to hard to penetrate communities and unbanked populations, because information is key in that information gap. So if you don't know, what you don't know can hurt you. And so a lot of people feel like those your Chimes, your NetSpins, your Green Dots, all these different alternative banks, they think that's the bank. Like, that's no different to them than Bank of America or some of these large banks that same thing in their mind. But then when they go to get a loan at a bank like Bank of America or traditional bank, they won't accept the statements from these alternative banks. So then there's a denial to your loan application. So it was important for us. Then 2020 hit, the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic hit, by this time we have been lending for a little while. We got a track record. We got a portfolio of small loans. These are small dollar loans too. They were, at the time they were $250, and then we went up to $1,000, and then went up to $2,500, and now we still have that small dollar loan product today. But and we also have expanded into small business loans, and we're getting ready to go into mortgages. So and that's the evolution. People trust. The pandemic hit, and there was a whole lot of need out there. People couldn't go to work, wasn't making money. The money stopped for a lot of people, and people were getting evicted. People was, it was just bad. And so we got called from we got a call from there. There's a YouTube video out there. If you type in, $850 grants and type in People Trust $850 grants, it pulls up this YouTube video and it shows that we gave out $850 grants to community members that were in need. I'm talking about single mothers that were sleeping in the car with their kids, all kinds of, because their lights off. And we provide them with $850, but we gave out about 93 grants, about 120, 130,000, somewhere in there. But in that day, these were people that we already had in queue. We already had them lined up. They were already waiting on the resources. We got a call from the Department of Human Services, and they were saying, hey, we have some funds, and we can you get these funds out by tomorrow? It's like a little bit over $100,000. So I said, yeah, we can get it out, because we knew how bad the community needed too. But they needed a mechanism. They needed a financial institution that wasn't going to frustrate the purpose or hold up the funds, because people need it now. So they had, they still wanted the transactions to be done safe and sound. And so that's where CDFIs come in, because we can do things that traditional banks can't do. CDFIs are non-regulated financial institutions. I mean, they don't have the same regulations as a traditional bank that would restrict them from being able to make a transaction. So we can get creative in how we make transactions, and how we set up terms and how our interest rate. We can get creative with all of that. And that's the beauty of the program. And so we gave out those $850 grants the next morning, and we showed up. It was 2,000 people wrapped around the building. I'm talking about people in wheelchairs, people out there with they small babies. They got out there at 4 a.m. and they waited, but we had gave all the money out the day before.
Catch up on all the old Federal Nightmare episodes, tap in to federalnightmare.com. Also go to Federal Nightmare Podcast 5011 on YouTube. Tap in.
Oh man, it was sad, man. It was so sad. And when we did what we could, so some people, when you see the video, they're talking negative, whatever, because they like, wow, man, they didn't have nobody to give out. They didn't know, but we didn't call them, but they heard about it.
And he was gone.
They heard about it there. And so, but that just showed the need. It showed how bad the need was. And then we became a non-bank lender, and because the SBA was doing PPP loans, and a lot of people couldn't get the PPP loan because the bank wasn't. They didn't have a relationship with the bank. They didn't have, the account wasn't, accounts, checking accounts wasn't there. They had everything was on Cash App, and that wasn't acceptable. And so they were stuck, couldn't pay employees, couldn't purchase supplies, couldn't do anything. And they would come over to us and say, hey, well, aren't y'all a financial institution? Can y'all help us out? Can't you do my PPP loan? We couldn't. Because for a period of time, they were only letting depositories, institutions that you could deposit in, federally insured institutions, they were only letting them do PPP. They wasn't letting CDFIs do PPP. So we wrestled all year trying to get into the SBA to become a they didn't have a non-bank lender, but to become a non-bank lender. And it was we was met with opposition. So I had pretty much just really giving up on it. We was helping who we could, but we had limited resources. Man, I got a call January from the Treasury, FinCEN, and who else? Treasury and the SBA. Asked me if we still want to be a non-bank lender. The program was going to be over in 3 months. But they said, you still want to be a non-bank? I said, yes. So we went through, did everything we do to get set up. And we ended up making we were able to access a liquidity facility, a line of credit from the Federal Reserve. And man, we ran it up there to $52 million. 52 million to 2,600 small businesses nationwide. I'm talking about nationwide, New York, LA, Chicago, Atlanta, DC, everywhere. And I mean, hospitals, daycares, barbershop, beauty shops, restaurants, you name it. We ran it up. And so a lot of those businesses, man, they appreciated that. They appreciated that because they wouldn't have survived. And so, but that showed us our capacity. It showed us what we could do in an emergency situation. And that's the power of community development financial institutions. And so that's why it's important. We need one in every community. We need a CDFI in every neighborhood, every community. There needs to be a CDFI there that's serving that community.
Exactly. When do you think they should start teaching financial literacy in school?
Early exposure is key. I mean, the minute they start, asking for stuff, the minute you need to teach them about money, because those are the building blocks. Long-term sustainability is the goal. So, having money conversations, putting money on the table and showing them, hey, look at this, letting them purchase things at the store when they go to purchase things, or walking into the bank when you're making your transactions, to see that, to be exposed to that, helping them to understand, budgeting. So it's very critical, in early childhood development, if they had financial literacy. So yeah, I think that early exposure is key.
Okay. Well, my platform is more about, mental health and trying to get, people who've been incarcerated a second chance.
Yeah, I mean,
because a lot of us come home and we don't have good credit.
Yeah.
We don't have a bank account. We don't have any of that. So when my program is going to be called Release One, Teach One, some 501c3. And I'm going to have a mental health program in there. I'm going to have a financial literacy program in there.
Yes.
And give away scholarships and everything. So I'm really going to come to you and open up my account.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'd be honored to have you, man, and provide you with technical assistance, any support we can.
Okay. I'm going to also have classes, so I'll be wanting to come in and want me about
I would love that. Yes, absolutely. We do it all the time. We have, of course, being static like we are, in just Arkansas, we have to have tools to be able to reach different areas. And so we have an online technical assistance platform that we use now, and thankful to like Zoom and Teams and all those things, we can send a link to your email, and you can get on, and we can do a one-page business plan, cash flow budget projection, which is one page, very simple. And what we found is most business owners, they really need that. They need that technical assistance, that hands-on. So get them started. Because once you get them started and get the proper infrastructure, the business is gonna run.
What makes Federal Nightmarez so unique and important is your story. We need to hear your stories on Federal Nightmarez. There's no excuses now. I'm in your face and I'm mobile with it. So tap in to federalnightmare.com and reach out if you want to be a guest. I'll pull up on you.
Now, when you talk about mental health, money affects more than your bank account.
I'm money broken, depressed, plenty.
Money affects more than your bank account. It affects your emotions, your well-being, your mental health, and your physical health. It's closely. Your health is directly tied to your financial well-being. So, if you, I had a funny story. I had a entrepreneur walk in the barbershop. I cut a lot of other business owners, and I was in the barbershop cutting every day. And we would talk about, the struggles and challenges of accessing capital to be able to get a piece of equipment or, to expand your business. And, we talked about a lot of that. And one time this one guy walked in the barbershop. He said, man, I need a bank to thank. For real? Yeah. And I thought about it. Everybody laughed like he said, I need a bank to thank. He said he couldn't think because he didn't have no bank. Now, when I thought about that, I said, okay, so he's saying that he need a financial institution in his life in order for him to be able to even think about what his next move gonna be, because that next move gonna cost. That next move is it's gonna cost, and if you don't have a financial institution that you can go to be able to get that advice or in guidance or get that loan, then your thought is just a thought, and it's at a standstill, because money make it happen
And they make a move.
Yeah. So so if we could, I wish healthcare professionals and people that provided these services understood that a lot of these problems come because people didn't have resources. If I go to the doctor and I get told I gotta have a treatment or I gotta have some type of medication, and I don't have the money to pay for that, then now I may have to self-medicate, right? Because I'm in pain, and now that bring about more stronger addictions. When we provide housing now. We've expanded. We have a housing program where we provide permanent and temporary supportive housing to those with disabilities and that are chronically homeless. And that facility is over on 4000 West 12th Street. But we got about 400 participants. And I can remember they will call, a lot of them are mental health. And they will call and they will say, hey, have my utility check made yet? Because we provide a utility check. So have my utility check made yet? It's like, well, it'll be there tomorrow. It's like, oh, I can't take it. I can't take it. They just have anxiety attacks. And that's why they're in that situation, because the pressure of trying to figure out how to pay your light bill. You got 2 or 3 kids, how you gonna feel? Don't even mention when school starts or when the holidays come. Pressure that are on people trying to live, man. These people don't understand how much that like weighs on your mental health. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. Oh yeah, it's psychological. Yeah, it's called financial psychology. Money affects more than your bank account. And then when you think about how financial behaviors, are formed, they start, advertising to kids, at 2 years old, they start advertising, I can remember sitting out eating a bowl of cereal, watching cartoons on a Saturday morning, and a commercial come by, the new, Tonka truck or action figure, and I'm like, oh, Mom, I want that. She said, boy, ain't got no money to get you that. Well, when I got older, the first time I was able to go get something that I wanted, I wouldn't got it because of that experience. So those early experiences, shake your future financially, and sometimes you can, it can shake it in a positive way or negative way. I know, like, most negative financial behaviors are formed from parents, from teachers, from because a lot of us in our community, the first experience we have with talking about interest and rates and terms is when we go get a vehicle. First time. That's the first time. When I sit down and I talk to the guy at the dealership, and I love that Camaro. I want that. So I ain't thinking about him talking about all this. I bought that car. But then, it's like you get locked into a bad deal, and now you didn't know that you were, paying over, and now you upside down, and now you locked in, you can't get out. So I mean, it's just a lot of things like that have been affecting our communities for generations. And it's created generational poverty. But generational poverty, again, is a mentality. It's a mentality. So I'm every day working to figure out, and my team, my board, staff, we have people come in here that are, disabled veterans and, PTSD. They wouldn't be accepted in a traditional environment because of their character, because of how they are. Right. And they're not going either because they feel like that's the energy that you feel. You got to somewhere where you have to make your financial transactions, you have to feel comfortable. And if you don't feel comfortable, then some people just won't use banks. They just gonna put it under the mattress. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or put it up in the closet in the shoebox, something like that. But I just ain't going. Yeah. And then so many people are afraid of the bank because they feel like the bank take your money. I put $500 in there, and all of a sudden I got $200 in there because they said something about a fee or whatever the case may be. And so it's just, fear and insecurity hold us back as well.
Federal Nightmarez. Man, I got a bunch of friends that's locked up. They got kids, and they don't really think about how that affects their kids. Because when you gone, your kids are locked up too. So, do you get your kids, or have you tried to get them help, or ask them, do they even need help? Because a missing father or a missing mother will affect any child. I don't give a damn how old you are. Federal Nightmarez, man.
That's why it's important to have community development financial institutions, because the CD part in it is community development. And other than that, it's just a financial institution. But it's a community development means that, you develop at people as well. So, and I say in the film, we can't develop the community if we don't develop the people. Yeah. You could do all the investing you want to do into small business. But if the people that live in that community ain't got enough money to go support that small business won't make it. So we got to make sure it's all about reinvestment. And we haven't been reinvesting enough into our communities. I said reinvesting. I mean, as I'm prospering and I'm gaining, we got celebrities, we got NBA players, NFL players, entertainers, successful entrepreneurs. Well, how many of them are creating funds for the community? How many of them are creating CDFIs and then funding these CDFIs to be able to create something sustainable for their community members? I mean, so what we did, we said, well, you know what? How can our small loans and how can our CBFI really create, really disrupt stuff and create something for the community? We could do if we start reporting credit, because credit is the key to unlock the door to the loan, to the car, to the home. Credit is the key. So credit is an asset. So I said, well, if we start reporting credit on these loans, then, we can build credit and then they'll qualify now. But because that's the most critical thing. There's no credit stores in the community. The furniture store don't report your credit. The dealership, some dealerships report credit. But if you get a buy here, pay here, at a dealer, they're not gonna report your credit unless you go bad. And now if you don't pay it, then it's gonna report. But outside of that, they're not gonna report. I walked into a Cinnabon. I tell you a story all the time. I walked into Cinnabon. Little girl was in there just crying. She was an employee there. She's standing back there crying. I said, well, why she's crying? I asked the other employee. They said, because she'd been paying her car note all year long. And she thought that it was reported on her credit. And they would never report. So her credit score still the same. She ain't missed a payment, been paying on time. And she just found out today about it. So she was devastated.
So you try to depend on it to maybe buy a house or something.
Well, yeah. Or maybe get a better car. You know what I mean? But just, that goes back to that mental health part of it. It affects your emotions. I take me, I look at my credit score. If it dropped 100 points, I had, this is what happened one time at the bank. I went to the bank to make a transaction to pay a mortgage. And the teller misapplied my payment. So it made my payment go late, right? She misapplied it. It wasn't on you. It wasn't on me. She misapplied the payment. And they later came and corrected it. But man, I didn't know what was going on. I thought everything was good. Man, I looked at my credit score it had dropped 150 points. One missed payment, my score dropped 150 points. I said, wow. My other credit card companies were calling. Hey, what's up with your credit? What's up? What's going on with your credit? And I'm like, it was a misapplication. We're trying to rectify it. And then when they fixed it, they updated, they fixed the payment, but then they updated only 2 of my bureaus. But my other bureau still down, impacted by that. I had to go through a whole lot to get them to fix my last bureau. And I'm thinking about me with the knowledge I have about how to deal with a financial institution. I'm thinking about the average person. The average person, they've just been a dead fish in the water. And so, and thinking about CDFIs, being able to attract, being able to be the quarterbacks for the community. The CDFI is the quarterback for the community because they're the ones that make those critical plays that other institutions just can't make. And so, they're needed, man. They're so critical. That's why I talk about it a lot, because we need CDFIs in every neck of the woods. Yeah.
Okay, so when you heard about you was nominated for an Oscar, oh man, where was you at? Like how did you feel, man?
Oh man, it was a surreal feeling.
Right.
It was surreal. I was, when I got the call that we had been nominated for, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no way that this film make it to the Oscars, even make it. And I was like, because we didn't make the film for fame. We didn't make it for popularity. We didn't make the film to be able to. We did the film. The film took 400 hours to shoot. Took 400 hours in a year, and we were shooting during COVID. So it was supposed to be a full-length feature film, but then because of COVID, they cut it in half, and it was documented, 30-minute documentary. And I watched it, and I was like, man, I was like, okay, well, if nothing else, we can use it to show, banks or the community what a CDFI is and how we get down. And but yeah, they got nominated for an Oscar, and that was just, and then going to the Oscars. Yeah, I can remember when Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union pulled up behind. We met up at the Oscars, and we all got out the car, and I was and it was just long line of red carpet and a long line of cameras and reporters. And we were walking this way. So he said to me, he said, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and I'm gonna pass you the mic. Let's go, yeah. And so, man, we went around, and very, very good people. Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, very good people, and real down to earth. We had a blast. Showed me a good time, man. Me and my wife, and then we sit down and we were waiting. We in the room, and again, I said we didn't do this for the Oscar. We did it because we wanted to uplift the community and show and tell a story there that would explain to people what's really going on, because a picture beat 1,000 words, and some people were like, well, you feel like, man, why is our community like this? Why is it on this side is like so economic disparity, and on this side is they got everything open there? What is that? So for a lot of people, man, they didn't know that it was historical, systemic, structural things that were taking place that in redlining and that in residential segregation, things like that left the community without being able to get investments. So the film would help tell that story. And so yeah, man, from that, it's just been a ride. I got a chance to see a lot of the celebrities actors that I grew up seeing all my life. Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger, it was off the chain, man.
I know it was.
Yeah.
For real.
It was off the chain.
That was this, I feel like that was just God blessing you with, with all the work you been putting in. You get what I'm saying? So I need to cut your be cognizant of your okra changes. I think God was just blessing you for all the work you been put in, man. And you won an Oscar to me. Hey, thank you, you know what I'm saying? Because I appreciate what you're doing for your community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I really appreciate you being on my platform.
Yes, sir.
And it's going to, like I said, it's going to help me out a lot. I'm going to open up an account here.
Yes.
And I'm going to come to you with all my financial problems. On
Yes, sir.
you.
That's right.
To guide me through it.
That's right, help me out. That's right. And that's what we do. That's what I'm here for. You know, I've accepted that as my calling.
Yeah.
In life. You know, at this point, barbering, you know, it was a stepping stone for me. And we still got the barber school. We still got 70 some students out there right now that still use our loan fund. And we still have customers that use that. People still use the loan fund. And but to see the things that the lives that we have been able to touch and the dreams that we've been able to make come true just with a loan, man. You know, even if it's that first bid, we had a young lady, she works 2 jobs. She had like early 20s, and she was going to buy a used car. And the car that she was going to buy was, they were overcharging her. It was a, you know, had so many miles on the car. And it was just like, okay, you're going to buy this car, but in 6 months, you're going to be needing another car. And man, so we talked to her, provided her, you know, with some financial literacy, and we saw she had good income coming because she got these 2 jobs. So, hey, you know, why don't you go to the dealership and find you a newer car and bring the buyer's order to us, and then we're gonna put you in the newer car. So she got a newer car, and I saw her on Facebook post. She was on there talking about, oh, she loved her new car, and you know, she said even though it ain't her birthday, she feel like it's her birthday. But that encouragement, you know, that her being able to have stable transportation, you know, a car is a vital asset. It's like a heart, a liver, or a lung of a car. If you ain't got no car, you can't get to work, you can't take your kid to school, you can't get a doctor, you can't go get groceries. It just domino effect on everything. So, but being able to see that, you know, or being able to provide this lady, she goes to get her mortgage, and the bank only provides her with, she gets approved for all but about $30,000 of the mortgage. Now, why are you gonna approve me? And you know, on this house that I already brought that I told you I wanted, but I only get up, you know, this month. Maybe that's all she, you know, they could see that she would qualify for, be able to handle. But nevertheless, you know, we were able to provide her with that mortgage to be able to help her get that home. And she's stable job, in her job 30 years, 4 grown kids, first time homeowner, you know, had a first time homeowner, several 60-year-old first time homeowners. We were able to help them we'll provide them with either down payment or help them to be able to get the mortgage or give them a mortgage. Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm ready to start my account there.
Okay. All right.
So, like I said, I really appreciate you being on the platform.
Yes, sir.
It was
man. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Likewise, like I said.
Thanks for having me.
No, for sure, man.
Yeah, thank you. All right.